Something on your mind? I'm a surgeon by training and a pirate by inclination. Not much else to know, Captain. I like long walks on the promenade and the smell of Spacer's Corona. I make a mean zero-G cocktail and I've got a meaner right hook. It's a mix of whatever you've got on hand. Usually zero-G brew with some Spectrum vodka if you're lucky, purple berry shake if you're not. I'll make you one sometime. If you don't enjoy it, I'll make a few more until you do. Sure do. Some of it was even legal. There's a lot of business that goes through the Groundbreaker. Some of it's board-authorized freight hauling, and some of it's not. I've done all types of work with all kinds of crews. If there's one thing you ought to know about me, it's that I won't tell you your business. Your ship, your way. Not at all. I chose this life to make bits, not waves. Though if I can offer another perspective, piracy's just trade the corporations don't have a hand in. Well, they're the ones who set the rules, so I guess you can't blame them for stacking the deck in their favor. But the rest of us have to get by somehow. Don't go getting the wrong idea. I don't have principles, I just don't like being told how to live my life. Let's move on to something lighter. All this talk of politics makes me tired and thirsty. Well, my blood type is AB positive, I'm a Leo, and I despise Space Hospital. Never mind what anyone else tries to tell you. That about covers it. Aw, come on, that stuff's boring. Look, the thing I've learned about living in close quarters is that you've got to give people room to breathe. I'm all for making a few bits together and having fun doing it, but let's keep a little professional distance. No complaints here. Things on Monarch have really cooled off. I didn't think MSI and the Iconoclast would ever talk. Outside of shouting four-letter words, I mean. Sure, and fish sticks are really made from Saltuna. Look, I won't knock the work you did. I'm sure they'll have a good cry, look through old photographs, share a pint of premium double chocolate cacao gelato. But sooner or later, things will go back to the way they were. People don't change. Not really. In my experience, it's spread real thin. Anyway, I'd hate to see you get broken up if this thing between them doesn't last. Hey, let's not make this out to be more than it is. Anything else? Since we're in Byzantium, there's something I've been meaning to do. I haven't actually talked to my folks in a while. Shocking, right? Anyway, it's probably about time I paid them a visit. Given the dangerous life I lead, they've got to be worried sick. Which brings us to where we are today. Several messages and a few years late. See, I'm originally from Byzantium, born and raised. I know that probably comes as a big surprise. This is why I have to see them. They'll hardly recognize me. Reconnect is a strong word. And, I was thinking you'd come too. Great. And when we get there, draw out your rough edges a bit. If you've got an outfit you haven't washed in a while, maybe one with some blood stains, wear that one. Oh, and help yourself to the good snacks and put your feet on the coffee table. Mother hates that. That's the idea. Anything else? It's like one of those stuffy art gallery pieces. Looks okay from far off, but once you get close, you realize it's just some mismatched shit everyone's agreed to overpay for. Even the bribes are overpriced. Interesting like a colonoscopy. I trained as a surgeon. More my folks' idea than mine, but I made the best of it. Lots of them, unfortunately. I even sculpted a few. Turns out Byzantines are more concerned with having square shoulders and a good profile than, well, anything else. Don't trust anyone, don't touch anything, and whatever you do, don't show your teeth when you smile. What, like primals? Nah. People are extremely competitive about cosmetic dentistry. It can get ugly. The real question is, why didn't I leave sooner? There's all these invisible rules, and everyone spends all their energy just trying not to break them. I was a top-tier surgeon, but I could hardly open a pack of gauze without 10 people signing off first. Now you see why I left. People call Byzantium the jewel of Halcyon, but really, it's just paste. Everything's polished and bureaucracy. Take a close look and you'll see it's deader than anywhere else in the colony. That's what I've been saying. Smell that? Industrial-grade cleaning solvent and desperation.
That's not all I smell.
Marilyn, is that you?
Lars, we certainly didn't expect to see you like this.
And I didn't expect you to renew your marriage contract. But we're all full of surprises today, aren't we? Speaking of surprises, you should meet my new friend. We've been running around the system for a while now, stirring up all sorts of trouble. There you go again, Captain. Always menacing polite society. Anyway, you're probably wondering where I've been all this time.
Not exactly.
The last few years have been a bloody haze. You wouldn't believe the messes we've gotten ourselves into. Right? Yep, we're a pair of disgraceful lowlifes.
Marilyn, this really isn't the best time. Perhaps you should go.
We'll stay as long as we like. And while we're at it, we'll drink your expensive hooch, wear our outside shoes all over your nice floors. He's right. Since when can you afford authentic Terran marble?
That's what we've been trying to tell you, dear, but you must understand, we hadn't heard from you in ages.
We thought you were dead.
I'm not dead. I just never wanted to talk to you again.
I'm afraid the distinction was lost on us, darling.
We only did what any grieving parents in our position would do. We collected on your life insurance policy.
And the payouts have been rather, substantial.
You what? Well, now that I'm here, I guess you'll just have to report back that I'm very much alive and kicking.
It's not that simple. For one thing, we'd have to cut back on so many necessities. The neighbors would be sure to notice.
Why did you do that?
We had to explain your disappearance somehow.
We couldn't very well tell people you'd run off to become a miscreant, could we? Someone could hear you.
We concocted a story about Celeste Jollycurl designing a pair of 12-inch heels for you
One of a kind, naturally.
that led to your tragic death when you tripped and broke your neck.
It was quite the story. People were talking about it for weeks.
Couldn't you have at least made up a better story? Something with pirates or raptidons? And what are you gonna do now that we're here?
Yes, about that. We were just about to ask you to, leave.
Quietly, if you don't mind. I'm afraid it would cause quite a stir if the neighbors saw you two stomping about.
That's it? You just want us to disappear now?
Marilyn, please.
Don't cause a scene.
Fine. I'm gone. Forever this time. Captain, got a minute? Can you believe those two? We'd hardly been there a minute and they turned us out like yesterday's garbage. I thought they'd be scandalized. They'd both be sitting there watching one of their vapid aetherwave dramas, and then we'd walk in. Mother would drop her mock apple cider, and the glass would shatter all over their overpriced marble. Father would tear off his glasses and blink open-mouthed. Shh, I'm getting to the good part. I'd have a great one-liner in the tube. I was thinking either, the leather's fake but the scars are real, or, oops, did I just track awesome onto your rug? Father would throw his hands up, because this would be just like me, to come back and make a big scene. Then Mother would do the old, "You had us worried sick." Her eyes would be red and she'd have her fist in front of her mouth to stifle a sob. I just didn't want to get booted out of the house I grew up in like that. It's embarrassing, you know. And I've got a reputation to maintain. I'm used to rough situations. Like when someone loads your pistol with blanks and strands you in a Marauder moonbase, or traps you in an airlock with an angry mantis worm. But I want to talk about me now. Unless you mean the kind who'll look out for you to blink so they could swipe your bits. The galaxy's not exactly crawling with those. Anyway, I don't want to sift through this lousy experience for meaningful life lessons. I'm mad, and I want to do something about it. Something like... Wait a second. What if I could get that money? Want to bet? I've got some big appetites, and they're all cheap. I could open a new account, designate that account holder as a sole beneficiary. All the payouts would go to me. I'll make money without doing a thing, and I'll get to cut them off. My policy is with the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group. They have an office in Byzantium. Maybe you could use some of your people skills to help me set up a dummy beneficiary account. If that doesn't work, I'm sure we can find one of their terminals and do it ourselves. What a relief. The less time we have to spend in Byzantium, the better. Something on your mind? looks like a place. You ready to get my money or what?
I see you're still in one piece. However, you never know when that could change. Consider our accidentally torn into tiny fragments coverage. Note that all of your fragments must be recovered and must be smaller than a standard bit cartridge for the payouts to kick in. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively. They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. I'm forbidden from accepting bribes, no matter how tempting. Very well. But just this once. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
Can we talk? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. I've never been prouder to stand back and watch someone else work. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Maybe as line holders or warm bodies? Oh, sure. You've got to wait in line for just about anything in Byzantium. And not everyone has the time or inclination to do it themselves. As for warm bodies, some companies like to keep extra workers on site to look more productive. Oh no, there's lots of paper shuffling and pen clicking that goes on. The really good ones know how to leave sticky notes in just the right places. See, this is why I had to get out of Byzantium. Not sure what comes next for me, though. I've never been much of a planner. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already there. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. It's nothing personal. It's just the closest thing I've got to a code. Anyway, enough of the touchy-feelies, huh? Something on your mind?